Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another apartment renovation. And this apartment is for a journalist, or more so a photojournalist. If you guys have done like the career unlocks or like the BB show Hidden Objects, I'm assuming is what brings it up, if my memory is serving me correctly, you can pull up these like wall decorations that look like magazine spreads, and they're framed and they're really cute. There's like maybe 3 or 4 swatches, and I was kind of flipping through the catalog trying to find maybe a spark of inspiration to create another apartment, because I really enjoy apartments now. I used to actually really dislike apartments just because I thought they were super hard, but now I really like them, and I wanted to make an apartment for a photojournalist. And it's more of kind of a traditional apartment in regards to the interior design, I suppose, just because it's not overly colorful. I think it looks really kind of put together. Maybe it's even an older-ish sim that lives here. I'm not thinking like an elder or even really an adult. I suppose a young adult's really what I'm thinking of, but someone maybe like in their 30s compared to like young 20s. If we can think of an age, that's kind of the age range I'm thinking of. Obviously, we can't replicate that in The Sims, but I can kind of use my imagination, right? So the first thing I work on is the kitchen, and these are my favorite base game counters. I always get really excited to use them because I just think they're really, really pretty. I love the wood swatches of these, and I wanted to kind of make it look, like I said, maybe a little bit more sophisticated. Again, I don't really know if that's fair to say per se, but I'm definitely just gonna go with it. I think it looks a little bit more sophisticated. I suppose just a little bit more adult. I picture like young adults, maybe right out of college, not really having, well, one, maybe not having the resources to go ahead and like beautifully furnish and decorate their first apartment or something like that. But I think also style is something that really develops as we get older. That's just like me talking out of my butt, but I know for me that was definitely the case. So like this apartment is not something that I would have gravitated towards when I was in my like early 20s, and now that I'm like starting to push 30, which is making me freak out just a little tiny bit, this is definitely something that I would gravitate more towards, and I just think it's really pretty and kind of cozy. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. And if you can think of another way to kind of describe this style, please let your girl know, because I just go with like traditional, and traditional to what? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But the kitchen came together really quickly, and I wanted to make sure that this apartment had a fireplace. Ever since we got Nifty Knitting, I have just been drawn to fireplaces more and more. I also wish that I had one in my own apartment. I feel like in apartments, one, that would be super rare, but you never know. But in New England, where I am from, having a fireplace is probably more common than other areas of the country. I'm saying that with no basis, but at the same time, it's also a luxury. Like when I was in the house hunting process, I barely found homes that had functional fireplaces. There were a lot of wood stoves, which basically kind of acts like a fireplace, but at the same time, I don't think it's as soothing. I don't know, it's more of like an aesthetic thing than it is a functionality thing. But as you can see, I did create the living room here, and I used the new couches from Nifty Knitting in my absolute favorite swatch. I love that teal so much. I don't really like the wood tone of the feet of this couch, and basically on those Nifty Knitting items, it's just a little too orange for at least this color scheme in this apartment that I was going for. But at the same time, I think it worked because I was able to kind of mix a couple of different wood tones together, which I was really happy about. And of course, as you see, the wood flooring is from Eco Lifestyle. It's probably my favorite wood flooring now. I'm not even gonna lie. I absolutely love it. I think all of the swatches are so pretty. And here is where I basically decided to go forth and make this an apartment for like a photojournalist. So I put a couple of these like magazine cover spread things on the wall here to kind of make a little bit of a gallery wall, highlighting the work that they've done and the published work that they've actually put out into the world, which I thought was really nice. And I don't end up keeping those leaning pieces of artwork. They looked a little bit almost too cluttered for this area, and I had some ideas for the bookshelves that I wanted to make sure I could do. So I decorate the coffee table a little bit, and I end up actually putting a couple of decorations on top of the mantle and the fireplace just to give it a little bit of character. But Sometimes I shy away from that because I don't want the decorations to block the television if I end up placing one. So the first thing I actually ended up doing was decorating the bookshelves, and I knew I wanted to use like that old-fashioned camera at some point, which is I believe just considered a sculpture, and I also filled in some of these spaces with just a couple of more books to make them look a little bit more full. I had some magazines, a few more stacks of books, and that decorative camera that we got with, I believe, the MyShuno stuff pack, to really emphasize that like this is a photojournalist, because then I also grabbed these boxes that we got with Get to Work. I think they're technically like file cases or something for the police career, right? Like the law enforcement career. But I used a ton of them because I was thinking they were photo boxes. So these were like the prints or the original film that this photographer shot with, and they just keep them all in all these little boxes on top of their bookshelves just to try to keep the clutter out of maybe their bedroom or something. I tend to do that. I have a bookshelf in my living room that is literally stacked to the nines, to the point that it just honestly doesn't look great, but it keeps a lot of things out of my bedroom, which is nice. And then I end up decorating the mantelpiece like I had mentioned earlier. If you guys were wondering why I placed down like multiple of the same items on a bunch of different slots, that is how I can try to avoid using the red Ohm as P-shelf sometimes. It's obviously really convenient to have, but if I fill up all of the slots, then I can freely place things on top of it without moving the fireplace out of the way. Do you know what I mean? Are you following? You picking up what I'm putting down? It made sense in my head. I'm not really sure if I articulated it that great, but that's the logic behind it, is basically it allows me to freely place things without pulling out that shelf too much. And I do add a couple of plants up there, and I put this little lantern. I thought it was really, really cute, and I haven't really used it that much before. I feel like it doesn't fit in with a lot of things that I end up building, but I really liked it here. So hopefully you guys kind of agree it's not like awkward, I suppose, for the style or in the space. But I add a couple of books. I end up adding the little picture there and just that little, I think it's more so a table decoration, the flowers. And then I work on this corner over here, which I got this idea from Simlissy. I cannot take credit for this whatsoever. She has been merging the keyboard with a couple of console tables, specifically these from Cats and Dogs, and making it look like a standing upright piano. And I think it is genius. I thought it was so cool. And you know what? It may not look perfect, but it looks pretty darn close considering we don't have one. I hope we get a standing piano. That is something that I have been hoping for a while. And at the same time, I don't place the keyboard a lot. Like, it's convenient for space, but have you noticed that no matter what your Sims play on it or who's playing with it, it literally just has like electronic sound effect style. Like, you can't play just a piano style. Like, it never sounds like a piano, and that drives me insane because I really want a piano. I love the grand piano. I think it's really pretty, but you barely ever have space for it. Like, you really have to plan in a room to have that grand piano. So I love that idea, and I definitely wanted to make sure that I gave credit where credit is due because I did not come up with that idea. I am not that creative whatsoever. But now I'm working on one of the other little console tables. Just looks more so like plate storage, like a china cabinet type thing, and I placed the Seasons mirror above it as well, and then just kind of clutter it up with a few items. Nothing really special, nothing that I wanted to necessarily call out, I suppose. Nothing that really highlights the Sims personality. There's just like some flowers and a bowl of fruit, which I'm thinking is fake for the purposes of this build, as well as a lamp and then a couple of pieces of artwork. And I also put down a little entryway rug, a little, well, it's technically like a runner rug? Is that what it is? I don't even know, but this is like the little entryway. So I have a side table and I put another wall mirror as well as just a painting here. Nothing crazy at all. I didn't want it to look overly crowded. And then I move on to the bathroom because I didn't want to build the bathroom last like I typically do. I've been trying harder and harder to avoid doing the bathroom as the last thing. So hopefully that is a positive for you guys because bathrooms are sometimes super boring for me. But this ends up being kind of like a teal and blue bathroom, and I really enjoyed using that blue swatch of the mirror and the sink from Cats and Dogs. I don't think I've used it before. At least I haven't used it recently, so it was kind of refreshing to use that, and I thought it kind of sort of matched with the tile that I ended up picking. I also used this Seasons shower, and I just pushed it into the wall. ever so slightly to get rid of the tile backing that it kind of had on it. I wanted it to mesh with the tile that I chose for the entire room instead. And I thought it looked okay, and it still works, and that's what's most important. So if you guys do encounter any issues with it, I do apologize, but it worked perfectly for me because you barely move it into the wall. And they also have a washer and dryer here, so this build does have laundry. If you don't have laundry day, then you won't be missing too much aside from those appliances, which is honestly perfectly fine. And I don't always play with laundry, so it's rare that I kind of put it in builds, but every now and then I toss it in there. I also give them a desk here right when you enter the bedroom, and they have that walk-in closet. And I use these TVs to kind of fake them being additional computer monitors, which I thought was really nice. I was thinking that even though they're a photojournalist, I think that they're actually really into gaming as well. Not like super crazy in regards to maybe like streaming, like they're not that into it, but I think that they definitely enjoy a good game and they spend a lot of time at their computer as is for work. So I thought it was smart to give them like a more ergonomic chair and to give them the additional monitors, so maybe when they're doing some of their photo editing as well, they kind of need the extra space to look at multiple things. And then I ended up using this bed from Seasons as well, which I absolutely love. It was a little bright maybe for the color scheme of the rest of the apartment, but at the same time there were some pops of yellow, so I thought it kind of worked. And it's a very calming bedroom in my opinion. I really enjoyed this bedroom. It's very simple, it's nothing special, but I thought it was really pretty. And I just add a couple more of these magazine and newspaper spreads over here and a couple on the other wall as well. One of them is repeated, like one of the swatches, so you will notice that. And I also give them like a little Roomba, the little robot cleaner, because I don't do that ever. And of course I give them a camera because I think that that is their job. And then I just add a couple more elements like a clock and a little shelf in the kitchen here just to spruce things up a little bit. And that is pretty much it for the build, I think. There really isn't too much. I think I switch out the overhead lights as well just to kind of bring the whole thing together. So I hope that you guys did enjoy this. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you guys next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!
I've been lying here for too long. I don't know what else to do. I wanna get away from every little thing just to try to make it through. I've been thinking about my options, every detail in my head. But it doesn't really matter, nothing matters, so I cry instead. I've been running circles, trying to catch my breath. I've been trying everything I can, but I ain't got nothing left. I've been staring at the ceiling, I've been staying up all night. Everything I ever worked for vanished in the blink of an eye. I've been asking every question, 'cause I haven't got a clue. Why's it gotta be me?